The Department of Justice rejects the request from House Republicans demanding audio files from President Biden's closed-door testimony with special counsel Robert Hur. We go live now to One America's chief White House correspondent, Monica Paige. Monica, what could potentially happen next week following this rejection?
Hey, Alicia, Republicans are slamming President Biden's Department of Justice for refusing to turn over the audio recordings of Biden's closed-door testimony with special counsel Robert Hur. Now, this latest defiance comes after the House Oversight Committee requested these specific materials for further clarification into Biden's cognitive decline and impeachment inquiry. Now, I want to bring in counsel for Article 3 Project, Will Chamberlain. Will, thank you so much for joining us, first and foremost. Now, Republicans originally threatened to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress if he didn't comply in turning over the requested audio files. But the Justice Department hit back at the Oversight Committee in a letter saying it already has all the information it needs to carry on this investigation. So what does this response from the Justice Department tell you, and what kinds of conclusions can you draw from this kind of response?
Well, it tells me they don't want to hand over the audio recordings because they're worried they will be damaging to the president. There's no privilege basis on which to not turn these things over. I mean, their response indicates they already handed over all the transcripts. So if it's the identical content, there's nothing in there that would be unlawful to turn over or that they have any legal reason to withhold. But they're just trying to say, oh, well, this is cumulative. Well, it's not up to the DOJ to determine that. It's up to Congress to figure out what they're entitled to, and it's relevant. I mean, much of Robert Hur's determination that prosecution wasn't warranted here was based on President Biden's mental state and seeming, like an old, well-meaning man with a poor memory. Republicans are entitled to fully understand that decision, and part of that includes listening to the interview.
Absolutely. And Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has since responded to the Justice Department's refusal, saying, quote, the Biden administration does not get to determine what Congress needs and does not need for its oversight of the executive branch. The American people deserve to hear the actual audio of President Biden's answers to special counsel Hur. So are these audio files crucial to understanding exactly what the president's demeanor was like behind closed doors? And are you confident that we'll ever get to hear those recordings?
Sure, they absolutely are important to that, and we should hear them. I don't know that we will in the short term, but people should remember what Merrick Garland and what DOJ are doing. That's refusing a congressional subpoena. Peter Navarro is currently sitting in jail right now for the exact same conduct, and it's that DOJ that prosecuted him and put him in jail. So it's really pretty appalling that DOJ would be so flippant about a congressional subpoena.
Right. I mean, it goes both ways. Considering the DOJ has rejected Republicans' request, where do you see this going from here? Will Republicans keep to their word and hold Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress, or do you think they'll just move on?
I think they'll give it a shot and try and find him in contempt of Congress. And I hope that House Republicans, even with a slim majority, will stand together. I mean, it would be really unacceptable for any Republicans not to insist that a congressional subpoena be complied with after DOJ put Peter Navarro in jail for the same thing.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this. Will Chamberlain, counsel for Article 3 Project, thank you so much for joining us here on One American News. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.